it's difficult to get the teachers to believe that they should have a different attitude as long as parents have that attitude. So you need to start with the parents, because after all, the demand for education comes from the parents. So the parents are the ones who are demanding this education. So in other words, to go back to where we started, in this view, what's wrong with the school system is that the parents think that, there's no point in educating their children unless their children are good enough to kind of graduate high school. Therefore, they want the entire education system to focus on the few people in the classroom who are high performing and ignore the rest. If that's what the parents want, the teachers will deliver that. And it's going to get too hard to get them to do anything else. You'll first have to start by persuading parents that even if their child is not going to get to high school, he still should be educated. I think that's sort of the, I think this. So in fact, that's exactly what they found. They found that when you do this, when you divide this class up, everybody benefits. The top children benefit because they're now being taught, the teacher is focusing on them. The top children of the bottom class benefit because the teacher is benefiting from them. The bottom children of the top class benefit because they are now closer to the top of their own classroom. And the bottom children in the bottom class benefit because they are closer to the top of their classroom. So everybody is better off in this outcome, because as long as you can't force the teachers to teach to the, teach the bottom, then what you can do, the next best thing is to bring the bottom closer to the top. And this is what this does. If teachers are going to teach to the top, then you should try to have classrooms where the bottom is close to the top. And that's what you see. The evidence is very clear. Everyone benefits from this, creating these tracks. This is the table. I won't go through it because we're going to run out of time. Let me just. This is already we've said. Who else gets hurt by this is the children, obviously. The children get hurt because they get discouraged. Most children get discouraged because they think education is not for them. And this is especially true in historically discriminated populations. So historically discriminated populations in many countries tend to be either the sort of, by race or in India it's by caste or some other source of girls, depending on the particular structure of discrimination. The historically discriminated populations tend to already assume that since they have very few people who have been educated, they assume that that's perhaps because they have no talent for it. And then if you go and tell them, look, so another way to put it is that if you happen to be from a family which believes that you can be educated, then if the teacher says you're stupid, they won't believe it. They're going to go and argue with the teacher and say, look, in my family everybody has a PhD. What do you mean my son is stupid? Whereas if you actually, from a family where no one has an education, it's much easier to persuade them that their child is not fit for education. So what you're going to do is you're going to reinforce stereotypes in society, because who's going to believe you when you say your child is stupid? It's going to be the people who have been told historically that they are not fit for education. They're going to be the most likely to believe you. So if this kind of stereotype the existing stereotype will be reinforced by, if you give people the message that that their child is stupid, the existing stereotype would get reinforced. So that's That's something that you see a lot. You see that the parents of in these kinds of very poor families tend to be more likely to believe these negative stereotypes of the children. Another thing that this would explain is why children don't come to school. Like, one thing that people don't emphasize is how rarely children show up in school. A lot of children basically completely don't believe that school is for them, and they may be enrolled in school. So on a given day, up to 50% of the children don't show up in a class. Now that's also true at MIT, as it turns out, but probably not for the same reasons. But it's many of these children basically hate being in school, and they hate being in school for the right reason, which is that they're constantly being told that this is not for you. One interesting additional fact that this goes back to the stereotype. This is a nice experiment. So children were asked to solve mazes. Do you know what mazes are? Like, these things where you have to draw a line and there's a point of entry and a point of exit and you have to find your way out of it. So they were given these mazes and asked to solve them. I've done this actually. It's fun to do. You can take a bunch of sheets and get people in the village to give them kids and get them to solve them. And it's a very good test of cognitive abilities, turns out. So that's what people usually do. Now somebody had a good idea of trying the following. They went to a village in India and they got together a group of historically low caste people who were discriminated against, and combined them with people from high caste and put them in the same group. And in one experiment, they just asked them, play the maze, do the maze. And they found no difference between high caste and low caste. They got exactly the same scores. Not everybody didn't get the same score, obviously, but on average, there was no difference. Second experiment, before they play the game, everybody was asked their caste. So caste was made salient. And immediately you see a big difference. You see that the people who are historically discriminated self-discriminate. They start playing badly. They believe that they can't compete with the other guys. And they do much worse. So once you make caste salient, so it's exactly this fact that once you prime my belief that I already am unsure whether I can do these things, you prime my belief that I am from a particular caste, I'm playing against these guys from a superior caste, I'm just going to think I'm going to lose. And it's very simple. You just have to get them to remember what their caste is. And there's another experiment which is also interesting. I'll just say that and then move on. In another experiment, teachers were asked to grade the same paper. And in some they were told that the paper was from a high caste person, and some they were told that the same paper was from a low caste person. Same paper, exact same paper, photocopy of the same thing with the same answers, but you asked to grade it. And in one case I say this is from caste A, the other case I say it's from caste B. That was the experiment. Then the teachers themselves, some of them were high caste and some were low caste. Who do you think discriminated? What was the pattern of discrimination? What would you guess?
I'm guessing high class discriminated against the low caste.
Turns out the opposite. The low caste discriminated against the low caste. Low caste were scoring their own caste people lower because they also believe that their people from their caste cannot do it. Everybody, so you have this underlying stereotype, and now you prime that by saying, this kid is stupid. What are they going to do? They're going to give up very quickly because they already believe that they are not really capable of doing it.